welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey friend, welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. LaChelle Wieme, and we are going to step into the next episode of our summer series, which is all about balancing your business and your kids while they're at home for summer break. And I don't know about you guys, but this is a challenge for me because I have serious FOMO when I'm not hanging out with the kids at the pool or on the bike rides, but I also have some pretty massive goals for myself. And so it has taken me years of figuring out how to maintain my momentum through the summer and be able to enjoy the time that I have with my family, because let's just be real, my time with my family and doing the things that I love is why I'm an entrepreneur. It's why I'm not, choosing to stay in the operating room and do anesthesia full time. And so we can have it both. We can create the and life, having challenge and fulfillment and all the things that fill us up, and be a more present mom and wife, right? And so what I want to do is expand upon some of the tips that I gave you guys last week, because we talked about my 5 big tips that I could help you to balance everything so that you're not getting into the fall and you're like, what the heck? I don't know what happened to my business. Because many of us don't realize that what we see right now in our business, in our profits and losses, are a reflection of the activity that we've done 3, 4, 6 months ago. And so if you feel like you can just coast through the summer and expect that your profits are going to be as good or better in the fall, you are kidding yourself. But there is a way that you can do all of it if we can get really, really clear. So I'm going to encourage you guys to go ahead and check out last week's episode if you missed it. All right. But today, what I want to do is talk about what I see as the real cause of why people are struggling. So you see, you might know what to do. You might have listened to last week's episode. You might be like, okay, yeah, this all sounds great. But, and I got to tell you that if I know anything in my heart and my soul, it's that my purpose is to get the butts out of your business. I am so tired of watching really capable, impact-driven people completely get in their own stinking way because they allow things like lack of worthiness or people-pleasing or lack of belief in themselves hold themselves back from doing the dang thing that's going to require to become the business owner that they want to be, to live the life, to create the legacy, to create generational wealth for their family. And we get so caught up in the stupid and, little things that hold us back that if we can bust through them, you can start seeing massive forward momentum. And one of the things that I'm going to just ask you today is, as you're listening to this episode, I want you to start listening for themes. Because the truth is that many of the same things that are preventing you from doing one thing are actually also preventing you from doing another. All right? So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to cover 3 of those top 5 tips that I covered last week. The first one is being really clear with your goals, having clear, defined goals. And I told you to have exactly what you want to accomplish in the year, in the quarter, in the week, and in the day, in the month, so that you know exactly what it is that you're supposed to do. Okay? What I have found is that many people really struggle with this. They're like, I don't know what I need to do over the next year or the next quarter, or how to break it down into the month or breaking it down to the week and the day. Now, those are strategies that I teach inside of my Spiral Up Success Club. But what I find that I really want to point out today and bring it out in the open is that there are oftentimes reasons beneath the surface that even though you know the strategy, even though somebody like myself can give you exactly what to do, you still don't freaking do it. Why? Why, number one, is that you've allowed confusion to enter your business space. Confusion. I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. You've heard the trainings, you've listened to the podcast, you've probably read the books, but you haven't executed. You haven't given it the full chance to work, right? You might think, well, I don't know how to make this work with my schedule. And you bring in all of these, and this is my truth of the hug, friend, excuses, the buts that are holding you back from executing. But really deep down, many people are not putting big stretch goals for themselves for the year, for the quarter, for the month, for the week, because they don't trust themselves. They don't trust their discernment. They don't trust the path that God is leading them on. They don't trust that they're capable. They don't trust that they already know what to do. And they don't trust themselves to actually do it. Therefore, it's really hard to make goals if you continue to let yourself down. It's really hard to make goals if you continue to set them and then you don't meet them, and then it creates this confusion in your mind. It's also hard to set goals when God has been placing something in your heart for you to go after, but you've been too scared. And you don't trust yourself, and you don't trust him, and you don't trust your discernment that you're hearing him right. God is not the God of confusion. And so when you allow yourself to fall into the traps of the lies of lack of ability, lack of clarity, lack of confidence, lack of belief, you are allowing the enemy to come in and attack the God of peace and clarity, because he will lead you one step at a time. Okay. And so if you haven't been incorporating some type of spiritual time in your day-to-day practice, this is absolutely imperative that you do. Connectedness with your higher power, connectedness with your intuition, connectedness to allow your subconscious to tap into universal intelligence, God, is going to allow for you to know exactly where you're supposed to be a year from now, to know exactly what kind of a goal that you can set for a quarter to break it down, exactly how to break it down into the month or the week or the day. But you have to connect with something outside of you, because oftentimes what happens is when we're stuck in the confusion, our neural system is upregulated and we just feel like it's frenzy, it's fight or flight, and therefore we have no clarity. We're just stuck. You have to slow your roll. You have to slow down to speed up. You have to reserve time every day to consult with your business partner, God, who's leading you here and wants to lead you on the next step. Okay? The second reason that we don't often set these big goals for ourselves, these stretch goals, and then actually make them into a tangible plan is because we do not believe deep down that it's possible for us. We see people out on the internet, in our uplines, if you're in network marketing, on social media, people in networking groups that seem to be doing it. And you say to yourself, yeah, I can totally see this is possible for them. And so you don't believe that it's possible for you. You don't have the confidence in yourself because you've tried before and you've failed. And you start to wonder if you even have what it takes. And so you shy yourself away from actually setting big goals for yourself that are achievable enough, but a stretch goal, because you don't want to let yourself down again. You don't want to prove yourself right again. You don't believe that it's possible for you. And the other thing that I see wrapped up in this ball of lack of confidence and belief is this unworthiness that you are worth the life that you would want, that you are worth having a multi-million-dollar business, that you are worth having multiple employees, that you are worth being able to work 10 hours a week, that you are worth to be able to travel the world. Inside of my programs, I help people design their life around the business and the business around the life, because that's what we want to allow everything to work together. But deep down, if you don't believe that you're worthy of that kind of a life, then you are not going to do the things that are necessary and you are going to sabotage yourself. Now, here is the good news that might give you some hope. Many people are probably listening to this. You might be listening to this and you're like, okay, I can totally relate to this. And maybe you've known it all along that you keep getting in your own way. And maybe you're just like, I've never thought about this before. And maybe you're like, I don't really know where I see this. But the truth is, friend, that all of us have some subconscious saboteurs, some beliefs that we've accepted somewhere along the way, most likely before we were even 7 years old, that are holding you back from fully stepping in to the clear, defined goals that you would love to set for yourself. Maybe it's that God is asking you to step into a big life of influence, which means a big following on social media and a very expansive business that you can give massively into the kingdom. But you have a deep down rooted belief because you grew up thinking that you're supposed to be humble and you're not supposed to want nice things and you're not supposed to be successful and wealthy and you're not supposed to do all these things. And you might not have even realized that it's there. But just as you get just enough of where you think that you want to go, you start to back off. You start to do things that are going to take you away from and stall that progress. And I absolutely love to help people discover some of those hidden subconscious beliefs, those blocks that are holding them back as blind spots that are preventing you from doing what it is that you need to do. Okay. Now, the second tip that I gave you guys last week was to have your goals out into the open. So I suggested using what I do, like a dry erase board, a vision board that you create with your family, so that your family knows what it is that you're working on, so that you and them can see it all the time. To have your dry erase board in the kitchen, or making sure that you have something in front of you in your office, or whatever the case may be, so that you're consistently looking at it. But it's available for anybody and everybody in the family to see it. And you work together. Your family knows that these goals are what's lead to the thing that you put on your family vision board together. Now, some of you might be like, oh my gosh, yes, this sounds amazing. I would love for my kids to ask me, Mom, how's your goals going? Or to see me checking things off my list on this dry erase board. But many of you might be like, nope, don't want anybody to see my goals. Why? Because it's scary, because it's vulnerable. What if they don't see me checking anything off? What if I fail in front of them? What if they see that I'm not as good as they think I am? What if I have to walk past it every day in my kitchen and it's reminding me that I'm just a failure? You are first cause, meaning that in the law of cause and effect, your effect is a result of your actions, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And so if you don't like what you're seeing on that dry erase board, guess what? You have the power to do something about it. Use it as a motivator instead of allowing your fear of vulnerability and your fear of failure to hold you back from executing tools that can actually help you to get to where you want to go. Now, another thing that I've seen hold people back is they're afraid to do the family vision board. They're afraid to do what we did with, magazine clippings and put together what we would love to see as a family, knowing that my work, when I have to go away and do my work in my office, that it's for our family. It's scary to put Disney World on your vision board for your family, because what if you let them down? What if you fail in front of them? And it's scary and it's vulnerable. So you don't do it. You are allowing fear to hold you back from performing the things that are going to get you there. Use it as a motivator. Identify the fear. Identify the belief that, okay, if they can make it happen, so can I. Identify the belief that if you do what it is necessary to make it happen, it will work. It's the belief that when you can get down into the root causes of why the strategies that you have been executing up to now aren't working, and you can fix those roots, you can start using the same strategies and they will start working. But we have to identify the things that are holding us back from using the strategies and from letting them work for us, right? All right, I guess it's the second, I'm going to call it the third. The third tip that I gave you guys, I'm going to give you a bonus one, is boundaries. All right. We talked about boundaries a little bit, meaning that I need to really manage my time well. I have to create a workspace so that visually my kids know that mom's working right now. So I'm going to have to leave her alone. But when the door's open or when her ring light's off, I know I can come in and talk to her. So being really clear with boundaries around like visual cues, as well as when I say I'm done at 4, I'm done at 4, right? And setting things on our calendars and sticking to them. Now, this one could probably be its own episode all in itself. And so I'm going to be diving into all of this stuff in future episodes. So I don't want you to worry. I got you. But one of the biggest things that I see with the boundaries, especially with time management and putting things on your calendar and actually following through, is that we oftentimes don't hold ourselves seriously. We don't take ourselves seriously, and we break promises to ourselves. So if I said I was going to do this, if I said I was going to post twice today, or if I said I was going to make the sales call today, or if I said I was going to record this training today and I didn't do it because, I'll just do it tomorrow. And we basically let ourselves down. And we do it over and over and over again. Eventually, we are going to start viewing ourselves as not trustworthy. We don't trust ourselves to follow through. Why make a goal if I'm not going to follow through with it? And so we don't make the dang goal, or we don't put the thing on our to-do list, or we don't put it on my calendar because I'm not going to, follow through anyway. And what happens is that over time, the more that you let yourself off the hook, the less trustworthy you perceive yourself to be. That impacts your self-esteem, the esteem that you hold for yourself. And that in turn contributes to the lack of confidence, the lack of belief in yourself, the lack of worthiness, because you didn't do what you said you were going to do. So I'm going to tell you right now that just something as simple as I said it, I did it, I said it, I did it, picking things that you know with 100% certainty that you can actually follow through on is going to help you to build that trust back up and that self-esteem back up, therefore the confidence and the belief in itself, okay? Another thing with boundaries that I see is that people are sometimes kidding themselves. Now, some of you guys, I love you, but you might be listening to this and you're like, I'm not really making any money in my business, but I see the potential, right? I see the potential, but you're not making any money. I'm going to ask you straight up with truth and a hug. Are you treating your business like a business, or are you treating it like a hobby? Because businesses make money, friend. Hobbies are fun. They might make you a little bit. They might offset the cost. But if you are not treating your business like a business, it's no wonder that you're not making traction. When you treat your business like a business, you stand up in the posture and the energy of a boss, meaning that you're making decisions and you're following through with them. And meaning that you don't allow confusion to get in the way and overthinking get in the way. You just make the decision and do it. And you're like, well, that didn't work, or that did, and you adjust. Bossing up means that you say what you were going to do and you do it. Bossing up means that you commit to it. But if you are putting things on your calendar and you're not getting those done, you are not bossing up. And I don't say this to shame you. I'm saying this because I want you to start seeing what you can't see. Some of what I do, some of my sweet spot is I help you see your blind spots and your barriers that are holding you back. And I help you to resolve those blind spots, resolve those subconscious beliefs. And I love strategy, giving you the tools that you need to get to where you want to go. But you have to be true to yourself and truthful with yourself to be able to identify some of this stuff, even when somebody else helps you see it and you don't want to, okay? 3 other things that I noticed that really impacts people's ability to use boundaries. People pleasing. You've added too much to your to-do list because you just can't say no. You are allowing their happiness to essentially give you your worth. And now your to-do list is way overwhelming. And how in the heck are you ever going to find balance if you keep saying yes to things that aren't in alignment with your values, which is likely going to be spending time with your kids this summer. You also might be introducing services into your business that are unnecessary because you are feeling unworthy. Now, let me give you an example of this. Let's just say that you feel like you should offer X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C to what your product is, because then you're going to feel comfortable enough to charge for what it is, right? And really what you've done is you've just distracted your client from getting from where they are to where they want to be by adding a bunch of fluff just because it makes you feel better. Oftentimes I see this happening when we have client calls and they're supposed to be 30 minutes or they're supposed to be 60 minutes, but you let it go an hour, you let it go an hour and a half. Why? Because you're afraid that you're not giving them what they want or they need. And you're afraid that you're not going to be worthy enough to charge what you have. And so therefore you keep giving, and I'm not allowing those boundaries. And now you're like, what the heck? How did my day get away from me? Our unworthiness, our fear that we're charging, we're not worth what we charge, or our fear that another thing, this lack of worthiness, this lack of confidence, this lack of belief in ourselves can show up in even just conversations. So I had a conversation with one of my clients yesterday, and she needs to make some phone calls to some people because she has some big changes in her business, and she needs to have some conversations with some people to update them. Now, when we feel self-conscious and we feel like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be like salesy and spammy, whatever, what'll happen is we'll make it the intention like, hey, Susie, do you have 10 minutes? I'd love to just update you on a couple of things. I'd love to get your feedback on this, right? Do you have 10 minutes? We ask them for 10 minutes and then we spend 10 minutes saying, Susie, how are you? I haven't talked to you forever. Because we want to make sure that they feel loved and appreciated before we ask them for something, for help from us. And all we've done now is we've wasted a bunch of time because we wanted to feel better. We wanted to know that they felt important. So instead, I coached her around like, it's okay for you to have another conversation later around catching up. Like, hey, Susie, I so miss you. We haven't chatted in so long, but I really needed to update you on this. And I want to be really respectful of your time and my time. So I promise I'm going to stick to this 10 minutes. So here's the deal. This is what's going on. And you stick to that. It's when we feel insecure. It's when we feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what they're going to think of me. We start to overextend ourselves and pour all of this energy into things that doesn't need to be poured into. Okay. Another one is fear of imperfection. And so what will happen is that people maybe have a boundary for themselves where they want to schedule out their social media for the week or the day. And they've allowed their fear of being imperfect create so much overthinking. Like, oh my gosh, no, this post isn't right. And they write it out over and over and over again. Not quite right, not quite right. And what should have taken you 5 minutes just took you 3 hours. Oh, and you know what? I need a better graphic for this. So I'm going to go on Canva. Oh, I don't like that. And you're just picking at it because you're so afraid of it not being perfect, of being right, that you take a task that could be done in a fraction of the time and you milk it out and overthink it. Friend, that is holding you back from being able to get done what it is that you need to get done. Okay? And then the last one that I want to talk about today is hiring help. Now, there's so much that I see when it comes to this. We don't have the confidence. We are worried that if we hire help, and it might even be a babysitter, it might be a VA, it might be another contractor, but we're so afraid that we're not going to be successful enough to maintain their salary. Or we allow our own beliefs of I'm not a good mom if I have a babysitter. Fred, that is a subconscious belief that you have that is holding you back because it's created a double bind. You want to have more time with your kids and you want to be successful. And because they are at odds with each other, you don't get either one. And that's what I love to help people
through is help to identify and release double binds so that you actually can have both. But the longer that you choose to believe that I am not a good mom if I hire a babysitter, you will not get to where you want to go in business. Oftentimes it's a scarcity mindset. It's a overwhelming fear of lack that will hold people back from hiring. And if you stay in an energy level of lack and scarcity, you are going to continue to stay in that space. And so oftentimes I will work with people and I will have them understand the way that you can break down what you invest in and how that is going to pay itself back. And we have to stay in this abundance mindset. We oftentimes also have this fear of imperfection or being judged. So if I let a VA into my messy, they're going to judge me. And I don't necessarily want to do that. So I'm just going to keep like hustling and doing it all myself. I don't necessarily want to have, a nanny come in because, they're going to see my messy house. Or I don't want to have a housekeeper come in because I don't want them to see. Your lack of vulnerability, your fear of imperfection, your fear of judgment is holding you back from growing the business that you want to grow. And finally, you are not choosing to invest in the help because you are failing to see the big picture. And it's not even that you fail to see the big picture, but you fail to see how you can accomplish what it is that big picture holds. Because you don't believe in yourself. So I hope that you've been able to recognize that when we have strategies placed before us that sound like, that sounds great, or, I've tried that and it hasn't worked. Chances are, if you know what you want to do or know that you need to do, or even if you feel like I don't know what to do because I've tried all these things and they haven't worked, it's because there are some foundational things that need to be fixed at the root cause in order for you to start seeing improvement, before you are able to start seeing success from the strategies that you're trying to implement. You do not need another marketing strategy, another sales strategy. You do not need all of these things. What you need is to fix what is going on inside that is preventing you from stepping into this person that you are supposed to be. All right, so I got you covered. I have a mindset mastery blueprint that I'm going to offer you guys. The link is going to be in the show notes. It's going to give you some of my favorite tools for gaining some of the clarity, the confidence, and the consistency that you can use to overcome some of these blocks. I also want to invite you to a success diagnostic call. I can actually set aside some of my time and absolutely for free, to help you see the top 3 blind spots or barriers that are holding you back. And I can tell you what those are so that you know what to fix, okay? If you are like, LaChelle, this episode spoke to me. I am raising both hands. Then I want to just have you, number 1, either book a call with me, or number 2, I want you to go ahead and click on the link of the spiral of options that are inside of the show notes, because I'm doing a really good job of describing what it is that I do and how I help people in the 3 different arms of my Spiral Up program. Okay. You guys, there's no reason to continue to hold yourself back. I love you. I want your goals to be as good, if not better than you thought they could be in the fall. And I want you to be a mom that enjoys the beautiful weather and the pool and the lake and the vacations and all the things like me. Okay, let's do this. Whoop, whoop. All right, you guys, I'll see you next week. And I am looking forward to hearing about your progress, okay?
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity. Identify what's holding you back and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, plug into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.